Hey everyone, it's Madison from PH Doodling. Today I'll be showing you how I set up my December 2020 monthly spreads. My theme this month is Winter Wonderland. I had a few ideas rolling around in my head for this month's theme, but decided to go with something a little more classic. It's been such a crazy year, and I'm really looking forward to celebrating the holidays. This theme really started to get me in the Christmas spirit. So first I'm starting here with my cover page. I like to sketch out all my spreads in pencil before I start outlining or adding any color. I'm using here a Micron Pigma pen. I've recently switched over to using a plastic nib tip. I just find it makes my lines more consistent and I like the overall finished look. You can see I decided for my cover page to do a collage of items that reminded me of winter and Christmas. I took inspiration from the Doodle Queen, Amanda Rach Lee, and her fall setup that she did back in November of 2018. I added my own style and adapted it to my winter theme. Now that I've outlined all the doodles on my cover page, now I'll go in and add color. I try to stick to about 6 to 8 colors a month just to make sure my theme has an overall flow. I chose a classic red and green and a couple of blues to complete this Winter Wonderland setup. As I begin adding color, I always try to remind myself to leave negative space. I have a habit of always wanting to color everything in, but I've been really trying to work on leaving things not colored to kind of provide some balance. I have a couple different sets of markers that I use when I'm picking colors for my monthly setups. My top 3 that I most frequently use are my Zebra Mildliners, my Crayola Supertips, and my Tombow markers. Between those 3, I usually have any color I could potentially need for any of my setups. You can see I always tend to add brighter, more vibrant colors just because that's what I like to look at. I know some people prefer more muted colors, but to each their own. That's the best thing about bullet journaling is you get to choose whatever you like. You can see after I've colored everything in, I went and just added some colorful dots around the page to just kind of bring it all together. And finally I'm lettering the month December in my Tombow brush pen. I like to use the hard brush pen just because I find it is easier for me to control. And there you have it, a completed cover page. Next, I'll be moving on to my monthly overview calendar that I use to plan my events. I only do 1 page for my calendar just because I don't have as many events as I used to, so I find that this is enough space for me. I used to do a 2-page spread, but I never filled it up all the way, and also I really never looked at my cover page, so I thought, why not put them on the same spread so I could always get a chance to look at my beautiful cover page that I created. So here I am just outlining some snowflakes that I drew to go in with my Winter Wonderland theme and creating my actual calendar. I do use a ruler just because I find sometimes my hand is a little shaky and I like it when my lines turn out straight. So after I finish that, then I'll go ahead and color in my header and then add in my numbers. Here I'm using my white Jelly Roll pen to add in the days of the week, just kind of in my loose cursive handwriting that I have, and finally coloring in the rest of the snowflakes. I did debate doing a whole theme just on snowflakes, but I didn't want to draw them because they are kind of time consuming. They look beautiful, but I just thought it would be a little more interesting to add kind of an overall Winter Wonderland theme instead of just doing snowflakes. So I hope you enjoy kind of that added element. So here is my first spread completed with my cover page and monthly overview. So now we'll move on to the next spread, which is for my trackers. I have just recently started using a mood tracker and really enjoyed it. November last month was my first time using it, and I really found it helpful to reflect upon my mood for each day. I decided to do a scarf for my mood tracker, so you can see it's been broken down into sections, and each day I'll use the color that aligns with my mood, and I'll probably do fun patterns to fill in the scarf. I added some snowflakes around just to kind of fill in the space and really like how it turned out. Now I'm just generating my key for my mood tracker so I know which mood responds to which color when I go to fill it in. Now I'm just adding the finishing touches on this page, coloring in my snowflakes, just to give it a little bit of color before moving on to my habit tracker. This is my new current layout for my habit tracker. I've tried a couple different ones. I used to use a long grid box where I would fill it in. I also tried doing a circle tracker, and this is my most recent style. I like how each habit is separated so I can see how well and how consistently I perform each habit throughout the month, and it's also a little more pleasing to the eye to look at. The only downside to this format for habit tracking is that you do have to write out the month multiple times depending on how many habits you are tracking, which can get a little time consuming, but overall I really like how it looks and turns out at the end. And so throughout the month, after I perform a habit, I will go ahead and fill in the circle on the day that I completed it so I can see how consistently I'm performing these habits throughout the month. I really like the overall finished look of this habit tracker. So there you can see are my 2 trackers for the month of December. Now we'll move on to my third and final spread of my monthly setup, which is a fun quote and my content tracker. I really enjoy incorporating quotes throughout my monthly setups. This month I've chosen to go with this quote, "It's the most wonderful time of the year." I really enjoy making them, and they're also really fun to look at throughout the month. Moving on to my final spread for this setup is my content tracker. This is what I use to plan my social media posts for Instagram and YouTube. So I usually write out the day and the date just so I can plan the content for each of my social media platforms. This is really helpful and make sure I stay on track and also that I'm posting consistently. I decided to doodle presents on this page because I was being funny because it's my content tracker. So I had fun drawing different ribbons and wrapping paper on these packages to finally complete this spread. So here's my completed content tracker for the month. I really like how it turned out. So let's go ahead and take a quick flip through of my complete December 2020 monthly setup. I hope you all enjoyed this theme as much as I did. I can't wait to share with you the rest of the fun spreads that I have planned for this month. So thanks for sticking around with me as I set up my December 2020 spread. Please like and subscribe for future updates. Have a great December.